All right. Well, welcome everybody. It's great to be able to have this Zoom call with Kevin and Sarah Pfister. And I'm really excited to be able to have a chance to talk with them and for you all to hear a little bit about their story. Actually, Kevin and I go way back to my time in Bosnia. He was our, I would say, adopted OM team member there in Sarajevo, our own cat, as he was playing his instrument, the bassoon, for the Sarajevo Orchestra in Sarajevo, and was there a couple different times. And so we really got the chance to meet and get to know him and interact and have fun even skiing up on the mountains around Sarajevo. And all of this was before he was married, before he met Sarah. And so I'll let them tell their story a little bit about that. So maybe you guys can talk. Maybe Kevin, you can pick up the story from when you left Bosnia, meeting Sarah, and now how the Lord led you guys to Bulgaria now.
Sure. Yeah. Happy to do so. So, I actually met my wife, Sarah, in between my 2 years in Bosnia. I was there for one school season, essentially. And then after the orchestra season, I came home and met her in the mountains in the Adirondacks at a Christian camp there. And then ended up going back to Bosnia for a second season to play with the orchestra right after I asked her to marry me. Luckily, she agreed to let me go. So anyway, I continued to feel called to serve in the Balkans and particularly in Bosnia at the time. And towards the end of my first year, in Sarajevo, I developed a program to do music with the Romani children there in Sarajevo. And things were looking good for me to get the permanent position in Sarajevo because I was on just a 1-year contract. But things went very south. The orchestra it's a very long story, but the orchestra has a lot of corruption and
no surprise there. Okay.
Yeah, his situation was not good, and so basically the door closed. But anyway, when we found out or realized that was happening, I started taking auditions elsewhere, and one for Ruse popped up, Ruse, Bulgaria. Mm-hmm. So and then was offered the job.
Okay.
And that they needed another violist as well, and so I said, "Oh, well, can my wife? She plays viola. Can she send in a recording and audition?" And they said yes. And so they all.
That was convenient. You just happened to marry a violist, huh?
Yeah, I know, right?
Was that intentional, Kevin?
Wife to be.
Well, okay, yeah, I guess we were still.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's how we found out about Bulgaria, and then after my second season in Bosnia, I came home and we got married, and then we came directly back here to Bulgaria. But the whole idea was, even though the door and sort of idea of the Romani music program we had in Bosnia, that door was shut. We figured that Bulgaria is a similar enough environment, still the Balkans.
Yeah.
The largest Romani population in the Balkans, from what I understand. And so we decided to, we still felt called to come here, and and then still obviously the same thing of working in the culture, in the amongst the Bulgarians.
Right.
And that's really particularly exciting and influential.
Right. So how long have you guys been in Bulgaria right now? How long has it been?
We've been here just over a year now.
Well, 1 year and 3-4 months.
3-4 months.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. And I hear you guys just celebrated a Thanksgiving with some of your friends and neighbors and colleagues.
We did, yeah.
Yes,
Let's see. Last year, we had a very quiet Thanksgiving. We really didn't know anyone yet. We didn't know where to buy a turkey. So I don't think we actually did anything. But this year, yes, through colleagues, neighbors, friends at church, we had people over, I guess including ourselves, to share Thanksgiving with them.
Wonderful. Yeah. So you're in your apartment there right now with that nice romantic warm fire behind you.
Yes.
Yeah. And is that how most people heat their homes?
A lot of people.
A lot of people do. In fact, I just logged up or carried up 10 bags of logs for our neighbor who's turning 88 this week.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
She knows how to light a fire, apparently.
So how have Bulgarians received you there? Are they pretty open, and what is the spiritual climate like there?
Yeah. Well, Bulgarians are very hospitable. They haven't met that many Americans, actually. They're more familiar with British people as far as native English speakers. So they're very surprised that we're here. Why we get the question all the time, why would you ever come here? And
why would you leave America?
Yeah, why promised land, because as many people probably know, Bulgaria is the EU's fastest shrinking country. Apparently,
according to statistics, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, as far as so we've been received very well.
Okay.
Are really very hospitable to us. We haven't really seen any backlash. I mean, some people make some negative comments about America once in a while.
Sure.
But as far as the spiritual climate, it's quite similar to Bosnia in that it's people identify, because they are Bulgarian, they are Orthodox. They are Bulgarian Orthodox.
That's more of a cultural identity, not so much a solid faith identity.
Yeah, and I don't think, I mean, there is the same thing if you come to know Christ and become a quote Protestant Christian, there's a little bit like, oh, but you're Bulgarian, you're not Bulgarian if you're a Protestant, but it's not quite as strong as it was in Bosnia. I mean, particularly with the Muslim faith there. But anyway, the spiritual climate, besides that, people are, I think, fairly open. Some people are open to talking about God and the Bible.
The biggest thing right now that we've noticed is that there's a bit of a difference between the older generation and the younger generation. Those who've grown up or lived during communism can be quite fearful and or skeptical of Protestant Christianity, mainly because the government and the Orthodox Church have painted the Protestant Church as like a cult and as a thing to be wary of. But then there's a younger generation that has not really grown up in church, so they're definitely more open to conversations, but they really don't know much about the church in general or Protestantism in particular. So they're often people ask questions and
they're definitely much more westernized. They're almost like kids growing up in England.
Yeah.
So how do you see that, like in your because you guys are playing in the orchestra, and so you're working, you're rubbing elbows, you're practicing, rehearsing, traveling with Bulgarians and apparently some other foreigners. What is that like for you?
Well, so it's important to know that in an orchestra there's very few young Bulgarians. It really is mostly older people over the age of
40.
50
40,
and up.
50, yeah.
Really, at most being probably
50,
60
60,
to 200. So yeah, we do come in contact a lot with the sort of socialist communist mindset of obey authority, no questions asked, complain a lot, but never do anything about it.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting.
I think it's still also in work. It's just interesting between the older generation and then the few of us who are the younger generation. You can just kind of see some differences there in terms of the mindset and how they work. But yeah, overall, I think we're generally well received. We've also noticed with our work that we're still learning Bulgarian. We're not proficient completely yet, but knowing a little bit of Bulgarian has really helped us in our relationships a lot. We really appreciate it that we've gone the extra mile. Sometimes I get frustrated when we can't understand everything, but overall,
we get frustrated.
Yeah. But overall, they've been very welcoming with that, and we have a very good working relationship with our colleagues. They seem to really appreciate us being here, and we've gotten very good feedback. So,
are they open to talking about spiritual matters, or when it does, it quickly turns into political or traditional?
Well, as far as most of the Bulgarians, because we're not fluent in Bulgarian yet, and
a lot of them.
They don't speak English, especially the older ones. They speak some Russian, but that doesn't help us.
Yeah.
We really haven't had very many conversations about that. They know that we go to the Protestant church.
The Baptist
We started a chamber concert music series at our church. And so we have colleagues from the orchestra play with us at the church. And so for a lot of them, actually, we did have one person say they don't want to play at the church because it's a church. But other people, it's, some of their first times going in a Protestant church. I mean, the church has been here for 100 years.
What's the population of evangelicals in Bulgaria? What percentage?
Ooh, it's a very small
like
percentage.
I think it's 1.3.
Something like that.
Okay.
We're 0.3%.
Somewhere between 0 and 2%.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. It depends on how you calculate it. What's the population of the country?
I think it's like 8 million right now.
Somewhere around 8 million and shrinking. Problem.
Okay.
But we do have a large. It's important to mention we do have a large population of Turkish people as well. It's about
in the south.
50% Turkish.
Yeah.
So there's still a fairly large presence of Islam here as well.
Okay. And so, Bo, before we wrap up here, I'd love to just be able to find out, how would you like us to pray for you? What are some of the things or the challenges, I think for you, as you're there, you had mentioned one time, just spiritual food and nourishment, still learning the language, communicating with the younger generation, it seems like in English, but the older generation, you need to be able to do more in Bulgarian. And then also interacting, it sounds like, with a couple of different churches, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sounds like you summarized it very well.
Okay.
I think probably the number one is just having Christian community, English fellowship. We thought we were the literally only missionaries here in the whole city until a couple of weeks ago. But there's another couple, and they're Bulgarian though, and they speak some English. But it's been hard, definitely, without the English-speaking church or we don't even have translation at any of the churches. So it's tough. We're kind of relying on the internet and Skype with other friends. And that's just one of the reasons we're looking into joining a missions organization as well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that. And also, kind of like you said, I think for us, opportunities to talk more about our faith, especially as we learn the language, as we build relationships, we've found it definitely, people are very welcoming, but it does take time to get to a point where you can go deeper in those conversations. And we're starting to hit that point, I think, with a lot of people. So just for more opportunities to do that.
Okay. That sounds great. Well, man, it's been really good. I could talk more. I'd love to get more details about what you guys are doing there and what it's like. And I hope that we can catch up again there. But thank you so much for taking the time to be able to share with us a little bit and about part of the world maybe few of us know much about, and just to see what it's like, a couple of musicians there. We'll be sure to take some time now as a team together to pray for you all. So we'll hope to talk to you again soon. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right.